Good morning students. Today we will discuss about the energy pyramid and trophic level. Trophic level means each level in food chain. Okay, there are many levels in food chain and each level is known as trophic level. The ground level is known as producer, then herbivores, it is first trophic level, then carnivores second trophic level and omnivores third trophic level. Okay, each level in the food chain is called as trophic level. A trophic level is the step at which the organism obtained its food in the chain. Okay, means trophic level is a level where organisms obtain their food in a sequential manner or in a proper chain. The amount of matter and energy gradually decreases from producer at lowest level to the top consumers at highest level. It is the main part of that trophic level portion, that energy decreases from bottom to top. Means the producers will get more energy because they are using 100% food from the ground level. Okay, and slowly the herbivores consume some energy, carnivores also consume some energy, and finally omnivores will get very less amount of energy. Means the energy level decreases from bottom to top in trophic level. Figure 7.4 shows the energy transfer that takes place at each trophic level. There are different levels of energy exchange in food chain. Actually, those who are present at bottom, that is producer, that is plants, okay, they will get all the nutrients from the soil, and that's why their energy amount is very large. But herbivores depend on plants, that is they will get energy from plants. Okay, then carnivores will get energy from herbivores, and finally omnivores will get energy from both herbivores and carnivores. That's why plants are full of energy and omnivores will get very less amount of energy. The initial quantity of energy goes on decreasing at energy level of energy exchange, at every level of energy exchange. Similarly, the number of organisms also decreases from the lowest level to the highest level. This pattern of energy exchange in an ecosystem is called pyramid of energy. Actually, it is a pyramid, okay, pyramid structure, and the energy level decreases from bottom to top. Energy level decreases from bottom to top. After the death of apex consumers, their energy becomes available to the decomposers. First producer, then herbivores, then carnivores, then apex consumers, and finally decomposers. Okay, saprophytes are apex consumers, we can say that. So after the death of apex consumers, decomposers will get energy. Fungi and other microorganisms decompose the body of dead animals. They are called as decomposers. The animals which depends upon the dead decay organic matter are called as decomposers. In the process of obtaining food from the remains of organisms, decomposers convert them into simple carbon compounds. Now you all know that our body is made up of carbon, means our body is a carbon body, carbon compound, and when after death our body get decomposed, each and every component of our body get divided, get separated into various types of carbon compounds, and these carbon compounds are easily mixed with air, soil and water. So plants will get carbon from air, soil and water, and again it starts the cycle or mix that carbon into the proper cycle. Okay, by this way the cycle is continuous. You can now see that due to the food web formed by various mode of nutrition, energy and various nutrients circulate continuously in the ecosystem. Actually, various types of food chains are included in food web, and many such type of food webs are there in our ecosystem, and that's why one is depend on other and other is depend on next. Okay, in that manner all the nutrients are moving cyclically or in cyclic manner from one part to another, and that's why various nutrients circulate continuously in an ecosystem. Okay, the sun is the most important source of energy in an ecosystem. In our ecosystem, sun is the only main source of energy. Okay, light, electricity, and this is a different part, but the natural light source is sunlight or sun. Green plants of the ecosystem store some of the solar energy in the form of food. Before reaching the decomposers, this energy is passed from one trophic level to the next. You all know that by the process of photosynthesis, plants prepare their own food. Plants prepare their own food, and that food or that energy is traveled from producers to herbivores, herbivores to carnivores, and carnivores to omnivores, then omnivores to apex consumers, apex consumer to decomposers. Okay, like that. Decomposers dissipate some amount of energy in the form of heat. When decomposers use that energy, some amount of heat is generated there. Some amount of heat is generated because whenever we are breaking something, energy is used and energy is converted into heat energy. However, no part of energy ever return to the sun. In this system, no part of energy ever return to the sun. Means each and every part of energy is completely utilized. Hence, such passage of energy is referred to as one-way transport. Okay, means we can say that the energy transportation is a one-way, because once we get the energy, it is completely utilized in the cycle. So our next part is biogeochemical cycle. Biogeochemical cycle, the name is here. Bio means living organisms, means livings are included in that cycle, and geo means that cycle takes place on earth only. Okay, and with the help of some chemicals. Though the energy flow in an ecosystem is one way, the flow of nutrients is cyclical. Okay, means if the energy, or though the energy flow in an ecosystem is one way, because we are getting energy from sun and we are completely utilizing it, and no energy get returned to the sun, but the flow of nutrient is cyclic. All organisms need nutrients for their growth. Study the various components in the figure given alongside and explain the biogeochemical cycle in your own words. Actually, it is very easy. The short definition is given here. The cyclical flow of nutrients within an ecosystem. The cyclical flow of nutrients within an ecosystem is called as biogeochemical cycle. Okay, it means that when nutrients are moving from one trophic level to another trophic level, and by this way it again come into first trophic level. Okay, that's why it is known as biogeochemical cycle. Nutrients necessary for the growth of organisms are continuously transferred from abiotic to biotic factors. and biotic to abiotic factors within an ecosystem. Biotic means living, abiotic means non-living, means that nutrients which are necessary for growth or for development, okay, are continuously transferred from abiotic to biotic, biotic to abiotic, abiotic to biotic, biotic to abiotic, like that. This cycle operates continuously through the medium of the biosphere formed by lithosphere, atmosphere and hydrosphere, means that cycle occurs in three parts of or three mediums of biosphere, that is lithosphere, atmosphere and hydrosphere. The recycling of biological, geological and chemical sources of nutrients in this process is a complex process and depends upon the level of energy transfer in an ecosystem. Means the recycling means again and again happening, okay. The biological, geological and chemical sources means recycling of all these three sources is a complex process, because we need to transfer them or we need to recycle them with a long time, by a long time, and that's why it is a complex process, and these things are depends on level of energy transfer in an ecosystem. If energy is available, that is in more quantity, okay, then easily that recycling can be takes place. But if less amount of energy is available, then it will take more time to complete, or it will take more time to recycle. Actually, two types of biogeochemical cycles are present in our surrounding: gaseous cycle and sedimentary cycle. Here a difference between is given in your book. The accumulation of main abiotic gaseous nutrients in gaseous cycle, but in sedimentary cycle, sedimentary nutrients, okay. Then gaseous cycle includes nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide and different types of gases in surrounding, while sedimentary means leftover or waste. It includes soil components like iron, calcium, phosphorus and different types of minerals. The gaseous cycle is a speedier cycle than the sedimentation cycle. For example, if CO2 has accumulated in an area, it is quickly dispersed with the wind or absorbed by the plants, okay. That gaseous cycle is very fast and sedimentary cycle is slow, because sedimentary cycle contain some solid particles, while gaseous cycle contain gaseous particles, and these gaseous particles can be easily removed from the surrounding by the air, or here a example of CO2 is given, and if more amount of CO2 is present in our environment, then it can be trapped or it can be absorbed by plants for the process of photosynthesis. Climatic changes and human activities seriously affect the speed, intensity and equilibrium of these cycles. Hence, various aspects of these cycles are extensively studied nowadays. Means our human activities are responsible for disturbance or for disturbing these climatic changes or these climatic cycles, their speed, their intensity and their equilibrium. Equilibrium means their balance, okay. Means our activities are responsible for disturbing their balances. Now in next video we will discuss about the three cycles, that is carbon cycle, oxygen cycle and nitrogen cycle. Okay, thank you so much. Have a nice day.